Hello, welcome to the ABC Dry Fire Dungeon. I'm your thirsty host of the evening on a wild Friday night here in the Dry Fire Dungeon. Today's subject, managing tension while shooting. I was at the range today zeroing some guns, and I had a gentleman approach me, and I'm fine with being approached to ask questions about managing tension. My assumption is that he was watching me shoot, and I'm fairly good, and so he felt comfortable asking me this question that I might know the answer. The problem was is that I was really in like an action mindset, um, and so and this I'm glad he asked the question. I told him, I'm like, let me go home, make a video about it. Here's my YouTube channel. I'll post a video for you. I gave him an answer there on the spot, but I wasn't like confident. It's like asking a drunk person a question, and then the next day they're like, yeah, that's not true at all. Um, and so, but I believe what I said to be mostly true. May have just been explained in a dumb way. So, managing tension. First thing, dry fire is something I love to talk about. I told him about trigger control at speed drill. In live fire, the tension of everything in your upper body makes a difference, and your lower body to a degree as well. But in dry fire, it's really hands. So you can use trigger control at speed drill, which for those of you who don't know, that's finger fully off the trigger. Assuming I'm doing it one handed, you're going to do it two handed, regular grip, but I'm doing fully off the trigger and then honk the trigger back. And that's going to move the gun in some direction. And that's going to tell you where the weakness is. So the way to do that, if the gun is going low and left, like you pull it and it goes to the left like that, it could either be too much right hand or not enough support hand. Too much trigger hand, not enough support hand. And you kind of play around with it. The answer could be loosen your trigger hand. The answer could be to tighten your support hand. It could be a mixture of both. But in dry fire, that's a way to say, okay, like I know how to grip the gun. It's usually quite a bit of grip. It's like, at least for me, I squeeze the piss out of it. Like I spend time just like squeezing the gun as hard as I can, just so that whenever I build, like I practice a 200% grip. So then when I do my 100% grip, it's not like I don't look like this while I'm shooting, but I'm still grabbing the gun very firmly. Um, a key thing there is that grip needs to be, or that level of tension needs to be constant from the time you decide to pull the trigger until the bullet leaves the barrel. What the problem people run into is that it changes as the gun is firing. It's like, okay, trigger 50%, 75%, 99%, and then I really squeeze into it at 100%. And you need to learn how 80%, that's an arbitrary number, but that it's 80% here, it's 80% at 50% trigger pull, it's 80% at 100% trigger pull, gun is discharging, that it's just not moving. And figuring out where that level of grip is. And like I told this guy that the number one thing to focus on in live fire is the dot going straight up and down. And not concerned with how much it's going up and down at this point. The first thing to focus on would be getting it to where it is just going up and down. And in dry fire, you can kind of suss out your hands and get your hands to where they are like even. It's like I'm not saying 50% grip with this hand, 50% grip with this hand, but it's a 50-50, so there's not an obvious left or right for the gun to go. It's going to make it want to come back and maybe up. Then you have shoulders, which have 360-degree movement this plane, 360 degrees this plane. You're going to want them to like be tight enough to not really readily move, but not so tight that you're just like bared down on it. Elbows, I shoot pretty loose elbows. My grip is very firm, wrists are locked. My shoulders are naturally pretty tense, so I don't like tense them up regularly, but they are I'm just kind of naturally like not naturally like strong, but I'm naturally just like high strung. And my elbows, just to let the gun kind of like give the elbows are a place for the recoil to go. And the reason for that, I believe, is that this is a 360, this is a 360, this does a 360, but this only does a I don't know, what is that, a 130 in one consistent direction. So it is very repeatable. And since there's an equal and opposing force, it makes it track true. Um, so then once you've done the trigger control at speed and dry fire and you've kind of figured out the hand thing, then you go into live fire and do one shot return. See, yeah, one shot return drill and just be like, okay, dots on the letter A, eyes are locked on the letter A, dots on the A, pull the trigger, dot goes up, dot comes down. Notice my eyes didn't move off the letter A. It just let the gun do its thing, come back down. Does its thing, comes back down. You're just observing it. I mean, like, is it going up and down? Just one shot, bang, bang, bang. And then if you do bang, it's like, okay, well, something happened there. And if it's going this way, then it tells you you're either pushing with this hand or you're pulling or you're not pushing enough. Like these need to be equal. They're just kind of like I explained to this guy that some people think managing recoil from a pistol is wrestling it. And I told him there's 30,000 psi of chamber pressure in here. You're not going to beat it. Like I have fired enough rounds to tell you, you're not going to beat it. Don't wrestle with it. Dance with it. It's like when you're dancing with someone, like if a woman wants to do a spin while dancing, you don't like grab her by the hip and twist her around as fast as she can go. You just kind of let her spin. Then you're there to receive her once the spin is over. And that's kind of way I think about recoil with the handgun is you're just being there and you're just giving it a place to go back to. You're like you shoot it, you let it do its thing, and you just say, okay, that doesn't really matter as long as you come back to this spot. Bang, does whatever, come back to this spot the whatever we prefer it to be straight up and down. Like that's kind of the goal is that eventually when you let the gun do what it's going to do, that it what it wants to do is track straight up and down. And so and it's like and I can I'll be honest, I was cranking some after this guy left. This guy didn't even see the best part. Whenever I was done zeroing guns, I was like, okay, I need to like I had some like a mixed bag of ammo. I don't know. I had probably 20 or 30 rounds left in this bag. And it was like, okay, I need to get rid of this ammo. So I did some rapid fire, you could say probably 10 splits. The best were with my 48. I had the 48 and I was doing pairs or doubles, but Steve Anderson made a video about this and I won't like plagiarize his video but it's like I'm not deciding to pull the trigger twice. I am acceptable sight picture on the trigger, and then I can the gun just with the amount of practice, it returns almost immediately. It's like it just and the dot doesn't leave even on my EPS carry on my 48, the dot doesn't leave the window. It's a continuous sight picture where I know I can just sit there and hammer the trigger. I'm not predicting anything. I am it's like I s- I'm just not on the I'm not on the predictive shooting train. It's like I guess I predicted, like I was prepped and ready to shoot twice because I knew that I knew what it was going to do. It wasn't a prediction. It was that I knew what it was going to do because it was never leaving the window. On the say I was fired 10 doubles. It was like bang 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 bang. And it's like okay, you've done that 6 shots. Seventh shot goes off. It's like I know the eighth shot isn't going to leave, and it's like okay, I see it not leave, and it's like okay, I can already get back on the trigger because I like as soon as I even, especially at like 5 yards, I think is what I was doing most of them at. It's like at 5 yards, even if I pulled the trigger twice, I could see the bang bang. It's still in the A zone. It's just like a middle shot and then a high shot, um, and so like and that's an appropriate amount of tension for me is just where the dot is just bobbing up and down in the A zone. Um, so that's kind of my message there on managing tension would be suss it out. That's a term I'm using. I think I've used it twice already. I'll use it a third time is suss out your grip and dry fire, just like your hand tension and just like and then also it's like that's going to also help you breed a good true straight trigger pull on demand. Then go into live fire and do these one shot returns. And that will kind of tell you. And then what's gonna the first time you do it, it's like you may get some of this and some of this, and you kind of mess around, then you get boom, 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 and it's like, okay, well, it's tracking straight up and down. Now let me just give it 1% more, and then that turns into boom, 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 and then it's like, okay, well, then maybe it starts to do that a little bit, so you kind of fuck around with it a little bit. You mess around with it, excuse my language. Um, then it's boom, and then you say, okay, well, let me give it 1% more, and then it's boom, 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 and it's like, okay, let me play around a little bit, and then eventually you get to the point where it's boom, 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 and so yeah, just come. You got to fire some rounds. There's I'm a big dry fire guy. Uh, you can learn 99% of the sport of practical shooting by dry firing, but then they're like live fire, figuring out that deal. But I would say my dry fire has helped my grip tremendously because a grip, if I'm here and I snap over there and the dot goes straight to that target exactly where my eyes are, then I go back to here and it snaps back to it. That means the gun is not moving in my hand. And that same grip that lets you do that, knowing that the gun, because what if your grip isn't very good, the gun's like here, and then you go there, then the dot's not there, and you got to move it around in your hands. But if that gun's not moving, it's going to transition with you, and that same grip is going to allow you to get um, up and down returns, small bob where the dot's just doing that, so that you can fire those sick, nasty splits, dog. Um, because that's what everybody's worried about is splits. And so that's kind of my message there to this gentleman. I hope he watches this video. Is figure out the hand tension and dry fire, then go shoot some rounds and just kind of play with shoulders in your elbows and just kind of get it to the point where it tracks straight up and down, and then work on reducing that straight up and down um, to a small bob. So hope this helps. And if you're the person that asked me this, or if you're anybody else, like just comment and I can clarify or about anything else. I'm more than happy to talk about it. So smell you later.